Yes,
Yes,
welcome back.
welcome back.
Yes, our mayor. Mayor ba natin ito? Juan. And as we end up with the class a while ago, because it was cut by the time, we are sketching the graph of absolute value function in a quadratic form and not in linear form. When we say linear form, the highest possible exponent is imaginary one, while on the quadratic, that is highest possible, lowest possible is exponent of 2. And
It's not the lowest, it's the exponent is really equal to 2.
if we have an exponent of 2, it is visualized as parabola. Diba, Chelsea, kanina, can you write the, ano ko kayo malagay sa, can you write the problem? Are you using laptop or cell phone?
Cellphone po, sir.
Cellphone, alright. Sige, ako na lang magsulat. Hanapin ko yung problem kanina and we will discuss. And we will go
Sir,
back.
nakasulat.
Nakasulat no? Nakasulat ka?
Apo.
Okay.
Apo, sir.
I will rewrite the problem and I will re-explain again, and then we will go back to the split function. Naalala mo yung split function, Chelsea? Kanina?
Apo, sir.
Alright. We will start on the difficult one, the quadratic. The example of an absolute function, absolute value function in a quadratic function is like this. From our problem a while ago, we have f of x is equal to the absolute value of x squared plus 5x minus 6. Then, what I've said, we will change the f of x to any of the letters of the English alphabet. You may use G if you want, M, A, but we used a while ago the G. The G of x, removing the absolute value sign, this becomes x squared plus 5x minus 6. Then from this portion, we can see, we can now determine the graph. This is a parabola which opens upward. So, the first part is to find the vertex. And we have the vertex formula for x. Vertex formula for finding x. We have x is equal to negative b all over 2a. This is our a. This is our a. The number here, the leading coefficient is your a. This is our b and this is our c. So, substituting, we got negative 5 all over 2 times 1. We have negative 5 over 2. And this is, ilan ganun yung kanina, Chelsea? Negative
2.5 po. Negative 2.5.
negative 2.5. That is the value of your x. And we all know if we are to find vertex, there is the value of x and y. So we will find the coordinate of y using the obtained value of x. So as what we had a while ago, we have g of negative 2, negative 2.5, that is equal to negative 2.5 squared from the problem, from the quadratic formula, plus 5 times negative 2.5 minus,
That's not quadratic formula, that is quadratic equation.
6. And we have, ilang yan ito?
6.25, sir.
Positive 6.25 minus this is uh,
12, -12.5.
minus 6. And our final answer by combining these two negative and subtracted to the positive one, that is equal to negative uh,
12.25, sir.
huh? 12.
6.25 plus para, sir, o karang sa ikadalawa, good, sir.
Ganun, ito, saka ito. 12.25. Thus, our vertex is located at negative 2.5 and negative 12.25. Now, next to this is to find the intercepts, x-intercepts. And as what I've said a while ago, in finding intercepts in absolute value function is different from finding intercepts in rational, wherein in rational, we just set y to 0. Here, we are to factor the quadratic formula, or if it's not factorable, then we will go to quadratic formula. Quadratic function. The intercepts for quadratic function is done by finding its factors. Now, if it is not factorable, then we will use the quadratic formula. Since this is factorable, with our discovery a while ago, I thought this is not factorable, but this is factorable pala. So the factors of this are x plus 6, x minus 1, right? If you want to see the quadratic formula side of this, you can ask for the copy to Chelsea. But because we are to finish this, because we will go back to the easier one, then we will not discuss the quadratic formula anymore. Anyways, there is the copy to Chelsea. Then we have here, we will set these two factors to 0. Thus, this becomes x plus 6. Bakit din yan ang nasulat? X plus 6 equals 0. Same true with the other factor, x minus 1 equals 0. This is equal to negative 6, while the other one is positive 1. Thus, our coordinates are negative 6 and 0. Then the other one is 1 and 0. Now that we have already the vertex and the two intercepts, we can now graph the quadratic function or the parabola. And if you are using cell phone, please try to screenshot, because we're gonna erase this. Now, to graph this, we will rewrite first the problem. F of x equals the absolute value of x squared, 5x minus 6, and this is rewritten as q of x equals x squared plus 5x minus 6. Then we obtain vertex at negative 2 point, ganito man, 2.5 and negative 12 point,
2.5, sir.
yes. And our intercepts x intercepts at negative 6 and 0 and 1 and 0. We have this. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Our vertex is at 2.5 and 12.25. We'll change the color. Green. This is the vertex. And we have the intercepts at negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, negative 6 and 0, and positive 1. That's our 1, 2. Should be here. And our graph is this. This y. This is g of x. Dito tayo naputol kanina. G of x equals x squared plus 5x minus 6. This is the graph of this function. But our problem is this one. So, we need to cut the portions of the negative side. We will cut and we will transfer upward because this negative side, because the concept of absolute value, as what I have explained before a while ago at the beginning, that the value of any absolute value is the number itself, or it yields a non-zero value, or
non-zero and non-negative number.
it has a positive value because it is actually the distance of that number from 0. And if we talk about distance, there are no negative distances. Thus, we will cut this from the intercept. This is the importance of intercepts, because from this intercept, we will cut this portion of the negative graph, and we will transfer it upward. Thus it becomes like this. Cut. This will be broken line, which means it has already been cut. And this one. And this broken line, or the cutted ba yung past tense niyan? Hindi ko alam. Kalimutan ko. Yung nakat na portion will become this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And we have the length from intercept to This one is 12.5. Thus we count 12.5 here. 12.25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And our graph and the graph of this problem is this one. Yan. And this one. Teka, nagtiko lang siya ha, pero straight ito. This is straight. This is the graph. This is f of x is the absolute value of x squared plus 5x minus 6. But we cannot graph this with this kind of setup unless we remove the absolute value sign and we had created a quadratic formula. From quadratic formula, which is
It's not quadratic formula. I'm sorry, that is quadratic equation or function.
parabola, this one, the parabola, and the intercepted, or from the two, what we call this one, from the two intercept, we cut the portion on the negative area and place at the upper portion, since all of the values here in the absolute value sign, inside absolute value sign, will always be positive. That is why the negative area of the graph is transferred here to the positive area. And that's the reason why our graph looks like this. Yeah. Looks like this. Looks like this. Bringing the same length from the original up to here. And this is the graph of the absolute value function. Alright. Before we will have another example of this one, I would like to go back to the first one, the easier one. The easier one, but it is hard to analyze if you do not have the background of it. What is this split function? So, we have this one, f of x. I know that Chelsea is already, had already understood this. Like for example, 3x plus 2 plus, let's say, minus x plus 1. We cannot sketch the graph of this unless we will do the split function. Split function. Why split function? Because we need to get the negative side and the positive side of this function. That is why we are to rewrite this function into a split function. What is a split function? It looks like this. Change the variable, any variable you want, and we have the positive sign of 3x plus 2 and the negative side of 3x plus 2. That is why this is called split function. Then bring down minus x plus 1 and bring down minus x plus 1. We call this side as situation, and the other side is the restriction. This is the restriction. This can be positive if 3x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. On the other hand, this is negative if 3x, this one, the terms inside the absolute value sign, if 3x plus 2 is less than 0. What are numbers less than to this? If we had already simplified this, then simplify this and this one and this one. We have 3x plus 2 minus x plus 1 equals 3 minus 1, that is 2x, 2 plus 1, that is 3. Yes, we have, for positive side, we have 3x plus 2. And by the way, nakalimutan ko, I haven't mentioned this to Chelsea a while ago, that the absolute value function is similar to piecewise function, wherein there is the situation, this one, and there is the restriction. Now we go back here.
We need to pause for a minute because I committed a mistake here. That instead of writing 2x plus 3, I mistakenly written as 3x plus 2. Now, considering like what if this is the correct answer, but we all know that this is not correct, this 3x plus 2. Let us just consider this as correct because the video cannot be edited because it is already produced by ClassIn. So instead of it should be 2x plus 3, that is already written 3x plus 2. So let's say this is correct, although this is wrong. Let's continue.
Here, to the negative side, we have, since we have the negative sign here, we are to distribute this negative sign inside. As we have negative 3x minus 2 minus x plus 1. We have negative 4x, negative 2 plus 1, that is negative 1. The negative side is negative 4x minus 1. Now, we will simplify the restriction. 3x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. Transpose. This becomes 3x greater than or equal to negative 2. Then we have x is greater than or equal to negative 2 over 3. Please divide. Please divide negative 2 divided by 3. Negative 2 divided by 3. Negative 2 divided by 3. That is approximately equivalent to negative 0.67. Thus, your x must be greater than or equal to negative 0.67. On the positive side, your x must be less than
On the negative side,
negative 0.67. What are numbers greater than negative 0.67 and what are numbers less than negative 0.67? Because we will use that in sketching the graph of this function. Now, numbers that are greater than or more than negative 0.67 are We will start with the negative 0.67 since we have the equal sign here. We have negative 0.67 greater than 0.67, that is, what are greater than these numbers? We have 0 greater than, and we have also 1. The other side, we have negative 1 and negative 2. Please substitute this value to the x here of the positive side, and substitute this to the x of the negative side, because we have a very small area here. Can you do it and post your answers to the chat box? Alright.
That is the effect of poor connectivity.
Goodbye.
And
Bye-bye.
you didn't see how it was done because of the poor connectivity or internet connection. Thank
And wala talaga yung signal. But the graph of this is a straight line. And correct, Palma. I cannot send my reply.
two straight lines which creates a letter V image. One straight line for the positive side and another straight line for the negative side, but it has a connection on the part of 0.6 and negative 0.01, since they are connected with each other. Sometimes the split function creates a straight line, sometimes it creates letter V image, and sometimes there are diagonal lines that is connected to a straight horizontal line. It depends upon the function, the given function.
Even if I am replying. Yes, correct, Spina. And if x is 0, your y is 2. So we have 0.67, that is 0.01. If your x is 0, your y is positive 2. If your x is 1, our y is 5. Thus the graph is this one. The graph looks like this. 1, 2, 1 and 2. 0, negative 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 6. Negative. This is negative 0.1. Negative 0.1. Here.
Negative 0.01.
If x is 1, your y is positive 2. If x is 0, your y is positive 2. Then 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And our graph is this one. For the positive side, this is the graph. For the negative side, substitute the negative 1 and negative 2 here. So if we substitute it, negative 4 times negative 1, that is positive 4 minus 1. We have negative 1 and 3. If we have negative 2, 8 minus 1, 7. So we have negative 1, negative 1 and 3, that is located here, and negative 1 and 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Negative 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is located here. So our graph is this. This is the graph of this. But before arriving into that graph, there is another graph here. This is composed of 3 graphs. The first one is this one, the positive side, with shaded coordinates. But on the negative side, we will change the color. On the negative side, there is this hole on, particularly on this point. Why? Because on the negative side, the x must not be equal to negative 0.67. That is why it creates a hole. Bangag sa Cebuano pa bangag. But it is connected to this point, which is negative 1 and positive 3, and connected to negative 2 and positive 7. These two dots are shaded while the starting point is a hole, because hindi siya pwedeng magkaroon ng negative 0.67. It should be less than negative 0.67. But if we are to connect, because from this split function, this comes from a single function. That is why this graph must be connected to this graph, and it yields, nawala na naman ako.